Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. So every so often when I come to review products, something happens, and today is sort of that case. I have a backpack that I've been just dying to take a look at, but in my videos I really like to have my impressions be just natural as I look at products for the first time. So I've had a backpack sitting around for quite a while, and at this point I just need to take a look at it. I was hoping my first impressions would be out in the deep mountains, but unfortunately time and weather have gotten sort of in my way. So instead, what we're going to do today is a first look and first impressions at this bag. Which, when it comes to backpacks, I definitely have some thoughts. And well, as I've been sitting here waiting to get this particular bag in my possession, well, I have gained some thoughts. And well, here we have what we're going to be taking a look at today. This here by 3V Gear. This here is the Sovereign Redline internal frame pack, and this is a 50-liter pack, which is very nicely featured. There are a lot of things about this that when I saw it really caught my attention and made me think this would be a bag worth paying attention to. So again, what we're going to do is a first look at this 3V Gear Sovereign Redline internal 50-liter frame pack. First look today, first impressions, and then in the future, hopefully we're going to get this out on the trails and really get an understanding of what this could do for me and hopefully for some of you. But with that said, I have a whole bunch to do and a whole bunch to share with you. And if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. Now, before we get too far, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at 3V Gear who did provide this for review. Now, going back to my intro, the reality is I've had this in my possession now for probably longer than I should have without getting a review done. So the first thing is thank you to the people at 3V Gear, and the second is I'm sorry it took me so long to get to this. I really love getting my backpacks, especially out into the field for real world testing, and I just have not had the chance. It's either been the wrong timing or the wrong weather, and things just haven't quite materialized. So today we're going to fix all that. We're going to get a first look, first impressions of this bag, and I'm going to talk to you about where I think this might fit for you. I know exactly where this fits for me. Now again, you saw I have a ton of different backpacks. So what role does this provide? Well, bottom line is this is a 50-liter pack, which for me, I'm typically a 60-liter backpacker, in that range. 50 liters, I can do it, but I really need to think about my gear. I really need to be efficient, and I need to not carry too much extra, and this would definitely allow me to do that. Now, something in the 50-liter range is getting to the point where, again, it's tight, but it's still manageable. And the best thing about this particular bag, it does have the ability to actually attach some things on the outside. You have laser cut MOLLE across the front. You have traditional sort of PALS webbing and MOLLE on the sides. That gives me the ability to use this not just as a 50-liter pack, but maybe build it out a little bit if I need to. And the other thing that's awesome, you have these straps on the bottom, so whether or not you have a bedroll, your sort of sleep system, or in my case, I'd probably put my shelter system right on the bottom, that gains me the extra capacity that I need. So for me, does this become a legitimate backpacking option? It absolutely does. Now again, this is the 3V Sovereign Redline internal frame pack. I mean, you kind of do have that red line, and that catches my attention. What I like about this is it has a little bit of pop, yet it's not overbearing. Personally for me, and if you've been watching my channel, you hear me say all the time, I like to be sort of low-key, disappear into my background. I really don't want to be seen, so I tend to have more muted colors. This actually works just fine. I don't have any problem with the fact that it has a little bit of a red sort of flare and pop to it, and in fact, it's stylish. As you look at some of the subtle details, even on the front here, you have a little daisy chain molly, which is cool, and it gives you the ability to attach things, but then again, the stitching done just with a little red pop, I like it. Nice little touches on this bag and very nicely done. Now again, we've talked about the capacity being 50 liters. It is distributed amongst different areas across this pack. So the first thing is I always need the ability to get to some basic stuff while I'm out on the trails. So not just having one big pouch on the inside that everything gets crammed into, but some subdivided ability on the outside of the pack. So the first thing, we'll start right at the top here. Unzipping here, you can see this is actually very nice. This is a soft fleece lined interior. You could certainly put things like your sunglasses or anything like that, but for me it would be some real simple basics right in the top of the pack where you can get to them easily. Now across the front here, you can see again the ability to unzip this. Quite simple, and some additional subdivided capability. So for me, having just these basic pockets on the sort of outside, the ability to get to my stuff, that's nice. And when you see 3V, it's interesting. It does speak to Veni Vidi Vici in Latin, being I came, I saw, I conquered. Kind of a neat phrase and a neat motto for a company. And as you look here, this interior lined with almost a topo-based interior material. I like that, just stylish. And it actually sets off from the black, which gives you the ability to see your contents a little bit easier, which is nice. Now as you look here, this pocket kind of is like an L-shaped opening. It doesn't open all the way, but it's enough that you can get in here, you can get to your gear easy. This would be a nice map pocket, give you the ability to put some utensils, headlamp, gloves, hat, plenty large, a fairly large pocket overall, good size and a nice layout. Now again, revisiting the front of the bag, you have this laser cut molly. This is actually a little thinner than some brands that you may know, like Hypalon, for example, is a name brand. This is just seemingly a little thinner. I'm hoping it's going to be durable and not stretch at all. A good Hypalon material is not going to stretch, so we'll test that over time. But again, having it there and the ability to put a nice pouch on the outside, that's going to be key. For me, personally, I don't like to put my food on the inside of the bag. It can spill, you can get your contents on your gear, and then even at that, you can't get to it during your hike. So for me personally, on the outside of the bag, a nice little pouch would work well. And then even on the side, so turning the corner here to the side, you do have dual compression straps, and again, that traditional sort of PALS or MOLLE webbing, nicely stitched, laid out well, the appropriate size, and the ability for me to put what I would call a saddlebag, really one on each side, and that would help me manage my food for a couple of days worth of a trip. So very flexible and capable, and taking the capacity from 50 liters to much more depending on what you're willing to bolt onto the outside of this. Very large and ample, almost neoprene feeling side pockets. These are stretchy and a nice material. They have an elasticized cuff on the top, so you could put a number of things, whether it is probably 2 water bottles side by side and on each side of the bag, or for me, I would probably put a water bottle, then I would put my tripod, because I always have to carry my camera gear for my channel, which is kind of a double-edged sword, and I always end up with extra gear. So having the ability to get that into this pocket, that's going to work out extremely well. Now, apart from the ripstop material you see on many portions of the bag, you do end up with more of your ballistic nylon. So a mix between your ripstop nylon and then the ballistic nylon. This is going to be fairly heavy duty. And I do like the fact that that's on the bottom of your bag. Of course, that's going to be the main wear point as you put your bag down, nice and durable and feeling really good. And as you look at the bottom, we've already talked about the straps, the ability to put some gear on the bottom of the pack, but also underneath here, this is really cool. It does also come with a rain fly. So the fact is, integrated right into the bottom. You can see again that sort of high-vis topo interior. The bottom pocket here coming with the rain fly. So the ability to cover the pack, really get it out of the elements. This has actually a real easy enclosure, so you can see here just a simple drawstring that's going to allow you to cinch it around the pack. That should work very well. We'll put this on at the very end and put it aside for now. But again, having that daisy chain MOLLE on the front, again, more connection points. I would maybe like to see, and I don't know if they could add it on this side. You see they are going to that sort of heavier duty ballistic nylon through here, and then the ripstop. It might be nice to have the daisy chain on both sides, because then if you wanted, you could lash some bungee onto here to hold a coat or maybe a wet tarp. And I really do sometimes do that. So I think just having that little strip down the side, a slight design tweak maybe for a future iteration, if you could get that sort of daisy chain MOLLE down that side, that would work out well. But the main pocket here, very large. Again, this is a 50-liter pack. So opening this up, it does sort of fold open over the top, and that's nice. And a large cavernous inside. As we take a look here, a nice large cavernous inside. Now you do have the ability to put a hydration bladder. So on this sleeve here, you can see, slide in your bladder. You end up with a loop on top to hold it in place, and your routing port out the back. So the ability to get your hose and straw out and onto your shoulders, that works out very well. Generally nicely constructed. Not only do you have this interior sleeve, but you have like a mesh sleeve as well. So a little bit of subdivided ability, yet not really overbearing or super sort of like cut up. You have the ability really just to slip some easy things, and I like the fact that it has that mesh. That's actually really cool. Some little bungee on the inside. So again, just little touches that I like. The ability to slip some things down inside here in a couple rows. It's almost like MOLLE, yet it is bungee. So it's going to be maybe the ability to attach a little sort of pouch to this. Med kit, fire kit, something like that. For me personally, I would just slip my utensils, which I have right here. Like my spork will go right and in there, like so easy, so convenient. That's just cool. But a really large, nice quality volume. Again, the ability just to manage my gear. I tend to like a dump pouch, so the ability just to stuff everything in here, and really it does the best for in terms of crushing things down, getting them tight into the void spaces, and minimizing the amount of wasted area. This bag's actually going to do a great job for that. All the zippers seemingly very nice, smooth zipper tracks, no problem. And then to the harness system. So the harness system is make or break for any pack. I'm hoping it's going to be nice here on the 3V gear, and right away it looks like it's going to be just a great option. So I do like packs that have ladder system adjustability. On the shoulder straps here, you can see that's exactly what you have here. So the ability to adjust this to different heights for different people, that's going to work out well, and that just attaches very straightforward and very simple. Shoulder straps over the top with your load lifter straps. Now, one thing I'm telling you right away would be just a nice little addition and very simple, possibly a single loop right here to allow that to stay in place and not sort of fall off. I'm hoping this doesn't become an issue while I carry the bag. It probably won't, because once it's under tension, that's going to hold more straight. But at the same time, just a single loop right here would do exactly what it needs to hold it perfectly in the right spot. A basic handle over the top here, and you also have a heavy duty handle right on the top. So a couple of different handles. And then the shoulder pads, you can see here, somewhat contoured. That's nice. So a typical sort of contoured shape, nicely stitched in key locations. Again, having that detail with a little red pop. Vented, padded, and nicely done. Fairly wide, which is going to help distribute the load onto your shoulders. And then ample padding in the back with a little bit of ventilation. Now, this is not quite as heavy duty or quite as nice as more expensive packs, but at the same time, it probably doesn't need to be. This is going to do exactly what you need, and if it carries well, that doesn't matter. And for the price point, this is definitely a nicely featured bag with a great carry system. The harness on the bottom, again, nicely padded. You end up with a little bit of a lumbar support, and this does seem to be fully stitched into place. Sometimes these bags, this is Velcro so you can remove it, but in this case it is stitched, and that's just fine. I would never remove this waist belt for a 50-liter pack anyway. But some of the best parts about this that I love having, just a little bit of MOLLE. I do really enjoy the ability to put a dump pouch or a water bottle corset on my hip, and that's exactly what I would do here. So having the MOLLE, that's key. Because of the amount of space you have to the back here, I would like to see a couple of things. Maybe if the MOLLE were to continue, personally for me, I really do like to get my water all the way back into this sort of corner so that it's far back on my hips and not pulling my belt down forward. So personally for me, in a future iteration, maybe having that MOLLE continue back here would be advantageous. But the other thing, and we'll see again how it carries, sometimes attaching just webbing to here and the ability to cinch this back helps with some adjustability. So having maybe the ability to connect from the bag directly to the hip belt and hold that in place, that might come into play. Hard to say, only testing will prove that out. Reasonable buckle across the front, so clicking that into place, that's sound. And then this is not a forward pull, but you could certainly do it. If you look here, you have the ability to adjust this a couple different ways. So you could either pull from the middle here out, or if you got that kind of loosened up, what you can do is then leverage these for a forward pull. And that's going to get you your adjustability a couple of different ways. So depending on what you prefer, you actually get the best of both methods with this 3V Sovereign Redline 50-liter pack. Pretty cool. Now just a couple final details. This does have a D-ring on the actual chest strap. You can see it has a whistle, and something that I definitely like, the way they did their straps here. This works out very well, where a lot of times I do like to carry my survival knife inverted on my pack strap, and this is definitely going to give me the ability to do that with ease. So for my personal needs, this is going to work out extremely well. It's very convenient, and I do like this particular construction very, very much. Now back in behind here, you can see this Velcro compartment. And this says it has an internal frame, which from what I can tell, the main thing is this heavy duty plastic sheet. So this heavy plastic sheet giving it structure. And then it kind of has these additional pockets here, which if you look, it has some like aluminum stays. These might be carbon steel, I'm not sure, but these definitely giving it some structure sliding down inside these pockets. Now, I'm not going to pull these out, but sometimes what you can do is bend them just a little bit to get that perfect contour for the shape of your back, so that the bag fits perfectly and it sort of sits down on your lower lumbar area and carries perfectly where you need it. And so as you take a look at this, getting it on my back, again, 50 liters for me is going to be just about perfect for this bag. Maybe a little bit tight, but again, keep in mind the ability to build this out. Now, the first thing I can tell you, these shoulder straps feeling really good, nicely padded, and they feel just about right. Remember, this has that ladder structure in the back to allow me to change the overall size. And really for me, it does take a little while to get a bag fully dialed in. Now you'll notice on this harness, I have this sort of as loose as it can go right now, but then again, the ability to tighten this by pulling forward. That's going to be my preferred method with a bag like this. These fitting almost perfectly on my hip and wrapping around to almost exactly where I need them. So the length and the overall shape and size of the waist belt is about perfect. Chest strap just about right. The other thing I could do is maybe pull this up to here, and unfortunately it does not look like it has the ability to potentially do that. Sometimes you can, but not in this case. So the chest strap for me is about as low as I will go, but it still works and works just fine. Personally, I'd probably rather it be right about here, but again, that'll be just fine, no problem. Now, what I do like about this bag right now it's between my shoulder blades. It's the perfect width where it's narrower than my body. I don't like bags that go super wide, and as you look here, it's a fairly tidy package. Goes a little more vertical than it does go wide. I can say I definitely like the way it feels, and as we get the load in here, I'm going to have to mess with these load lifters. Now, as you look at these load lifters, you do have the ability to adjust these, and then you can kind of use this as a way to keep it tidy. I am going to have to just play with these a little bit and get everything adjusted, but generally speaking, that's going to work out pretty well. And at that point, you can see these do fall more appropriately down the shoulder straps. I do think that still, hard to say, maybe having a little loop there would help, but overall, this is definitely comfortable. Feels really good on my back. I like the way it feels, and I can tell you already, I think this is going to ride really nice. I mean, for a bag of this sort of price point, you're getting a lot of bang for the buck. A lot of nice overall features, and something that I think is going to ride really well. So to the people at 3V, very nice. And so again, this is just a very first look, first impression, and a preliminary sense for the 3V Sovereign Redline 50-liter internal frame pack. Very, very nice. Again, if you're somebody looking to get started in this genre, or maybe you're like me and you just want to have an extra pack for maybe a friend, this is going to be a fantastic way to go. I can see this working for a number of different body styles, body shapes, number of different heights. The 50 liters being just about perfect in this case, where again, you have the ability to expand upon the overall volume if you need it. And so moving forward, the only way to really figure out if this is truly going to work is to get it out into the field. So what I'm hoping is in a future video, you're going to see this out on the trails. And if you like this content, do me a favor, take a look at my OUTER LIMITLESS 2 channel, which is more on the tactical and firearm side of things. At this point, that channel is growing quickly. I have a ton of videos up there. So if you like what you see here on OUTER LIMITLESS, do me a favor and check me out on OUTER LIMITLESS 2. So all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you liked what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.